Number 15 is supposed to be the hardest question in this section. It is the last of the multiple choice, so that means it's very, very hard. However, I think that this is a question that no one should get wrong ever. It is inexcusable to get this question wrong. Now, if you know how to do algebra, if you're very good at algebra, you probably aren't even watching this video because you knew how to handle this squared term and you just knew what to do from there. So if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're not great at algebra and you messed that piece up. So I'll briefly tell you what to do, but that's not a good idea, is to learn this. Like, you already have your issues. There's other things you can do to guarantee these points. But what you're supposed to do when you have a squared on a term with pluses and minuses is you're supposed to write it out and be thorough and FOIL this. You can't just distribute the 2 to both parts. You have to FOIL it out. But if you're not good enough to know that, then the foiling might be just as messy for you and might not actually get you the right answer. So instead of spending time teaching you algebra that you just aren't comfortable with, I want to show you that with arithmetizing, one of the best strategies for people who are not great at algebra, if we arithmetize, we can turn this question into a very simple, gettable question, even though it's supposed to be really hard. So first, I'm going to start by picking some very lazy numbers, okay? I want to get rid of the variables, the a and the b. Notice that because they're in the choices and the question, I never need to solve for a and b. They're just placeholders. So the way that algebra works, I can replace the placeholders and figure out what's going on just by seeing what happens to real numbers instead of variables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 2. And that's me being very lazy. First of all, 0 is a nice number to work with. It's very easy. I don't have to think too hard. And in this case, I didn't pick 1, which might be a lazier number for b, mostly because if I had 1, then I'd have 1/2 in my parentheses, and I really don't want to deal with fractions. I'm being lazy because what happens is my fraction goes away, right? I'd have 0 plus 2 over 2 squared. 0 plus, well, 2 over 2 is just 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So that is my magic number. I want my answer choices to equal 1 as well when I take 0 for a and b for 2 and 2 for b and plug them in. So if I do that in choice A, I'd have 0 squared plus 2 squared over 2. 0 squared is 0, so that goes away. 2 squared is 4, so that's 4 over 2, and 4 over 2 is 2. So 2 is not equal to 1. Choice A is wrong. I have to do this for all of the choices. So 0 squared plus 2 squared over 4. This goes away again. 2 squared is 4. 4 over 4 is 1. That looks good. But when I arithmetize, I need to try every single choice. If I'm guessing and checking, once I find the answer, I'm done. I've guessed, I've checked, it checked out, you're done. Arithmetize is slightly different because we're not getting the answer choices from getting the numbers from the answer choices. We're making them up. And so it's possible we've made up some bad numbers. So let's just be thorough. Let's go through all the choices. It doesn't take long, but it's going to make sure that we don't make a kind of careless mistake. So in this case, I'm just rewriting everything so I don't lose any of my numbers. But 0 squared is 0. 0 times 2 is 0, so that term goes away. So here I have 4 divided by 2 again, which is 2, which is not 1, so C is wrong. 0 squared plus 0 times 2 plus 2 squared over 4. This goes away, 4 over 4 is 1. So 2 choices worked. Not the end of the world, this happens. In fact, because I was lazy, I ended up getting 2 choices that worked. I could have been smarter from the start and picked numbers that would have only gotten me 1 answer, but I purposely did this to show you that even when things go wrong, you're still learning a lot and you're still able to get the right answer. We've eliminated 2 choices. That's great. Now we just want to pick a number that's going to help us out a little bit more. And my guess is that the 0 was the problem because 0 made a lot of stuff disappear. So I would just redo this question with new numbers. Let's make a equal to 1 this time, and let's keep b equal to 2 because I liked it. It worked out nicely. So now we have to do the original question again. So a plus b over 2 squared is going to be 1 plus 2 over 2 squared. That's 1 plus 1 squared. 2 squared is 4. So now I have a new magic number because I chose new numbers to arithmetize with. It's going to happen. Now I only need to try choices B and D because I've eliminated A and C already. They're done. They're gone. So a squared plus b squared over 4. That's going to be 1 squared plus 2 squared over 4. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 4 over 4 is 1. So this is really 2, not 4, like it's supposed to be. So that's not looking good for choice B. I would try choice D here just in case, because maybe I made a careless mistake somewhere with my arithmetic. I wouldn't want to lose these points just for that. That's definitely fixable. But I've got 1 squared plus 1 times 2 plus 2 squared over 4. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4 over 4. That's another 1. So 1 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 4, which is my magic number, which proves choice D correct. So, is it longer to do arithmetize? Absolutely. It's not efficient if you know how to do the algebra. But if you're watching this video, it's probably because you don't feel super confident with algebra, especially when you get into things like factoring and foiling and exponents, and that's okay. The truth of the matter, though, is you have to kind of just admit your weaknesses and be like, yeah, this is a problem for me. That doesn't mean you're screwed whenever those things come up in a question. It just means you need other alternatives. And so if you're watching this video, it's probably because you need that alternative. Arithmetize is a very powerful alternative to make up for the fact that you didn't learn algebra as well as maybe you should have in school. It's okay. We just need to admit that that's where we are, that we're likely to make mistakes if we use the algebra, and to try the strategy instead. And that way, yeah, it takes a little longer, but you can guarantee yourself these 10 points on a really hard question that you might otherwise have no shot at. So it's worth the time to prove it and get those points. And yeah, it'll improve your score.